Today on Monkey Life, the police are called in when the team rescue marmosets Rattler and Tyre.
It was about the worst circumstances that we've ever collected common marmosets from the British pet trade.
Concerns for the team when Capuchin Gorillon goes under the knife.
You can be all right on all this heat.
And Diego's having a whale of a time.
This has got absolutely nothing to do with anything other than just being lots and lots of fun.
Monkey World in Dorset is the largest sanctuary of its kind on the planet. The team, led by Dr. Alison Cronin, rescue and rehabilitate unwanted and abused primates from all over the world.
Just leave that on now, OK?
The park is home to more than 240 monkeys and apes from 18 different species. And the aim is to give them as natural a life as possible. In the UK, common marmosets are amongst the most badly treated victims of the primate pet trade. And Alison is often asked by the police and animal welfare charities to help in confiscating them.
You gotta take them, get them covered.
Like Solomon, who was removed from a house in Liverpool. Today, she's down in Plymouth and has just left a flat where a man has been keeping 2 marmosets in terrible conditions.
First thing this morning, got up and headed off to Plymouth to assist RSPCA on checking out some marmosets that they had heard about. And actually, I had heard about the 2 marmosets a few weeks ago and got down to Plymouth, and it was just a nightmare. Sorry.
They found Rattler, a male, and Tyre, a very young female.
They were simply, loose in the room. And the little one is just a tiny, tiny, tiny baby that should still be with its mother.
The baby is far too young to fend for herself, but has to compete for food with the older one.
And you've got quite a tickler.
It's quite a sensitive situation, and the filming is done discreetly so as not to agitate the owner.
The insect, she's about to get thumped by him. Yeah. He's gonna take it. Come on.
Little Tyre has just been knocked off the pole by Rattler.
Come on, that's the first time that's happened.
The marmoset's home is a length of plastic tubing suspended beneath a curtain rail. It hasn't been cleaned out for days, and there are feces and dead insects all over the flat.
They urinate in this plastic pipe here, and yet their food's put in there, so they have to walk through their urine and feces to get to their food.
With Alison's assessment of the conditions, the RSPCA inspector soon decides that the marmosets need to be moved out of the flat immediately.
Yeah, well, I've told you I've had to take a lot of what I had for them done.
I've kind of seen enough at the moment, and I'm not very happy. I'm gonna caution you, okay?
Yeah, well.
You do not have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you do not mention now something which you later rely on in court. Anything you do say may be given in evidence. Do you understand the caution?
Yeah, I understand the caution.
But it's not over yet. Although Alison wants to take Rattler and Tyre back to the park, their owner isn't going to give them up easily. Eventually, the police have to be called in. Upset and angry, the owner storms out of the house, taking baby Tyre with him in his pocket.
I just want to be left alone. You'll have to arrest me.
Alison is given the go-ahead from the police to catch and confiscate Rattler. They eventually find the owner in town and seize baby Tyre as well. Monkey World will take care of them until the courts decide their future.
Police had to be involved, and I've now got hold of the marmosets in the back here, and I'm taking them back to Monkey World, where we'll leave them overnight together, and then tomorrow morning we'll try and integrate them with a family group that we've got at the park and see how we go. But really, these guys are going to need some TLC and potentially some medical care as well, but we'll have to wait and see what the vets think.
At the park, Jeremy and the team waste no time in settling them down for the night. It's been a long day for them, but tonight they'll have a clean bed and a good feed.
That's what I mean, she's very human friendly.
Hopefully they'll be able to stay at the park, but no one will know until the courts decide. At the Capuchin house, there's been a scuffle between 2 other rescued primates. Gorillon, the oldest member of the group, was involved, and one of the younger males.
Winslow came from the tunnel and sort of latched onto Gorillon, who was on the mesh, and it was all very quick. There was actually no screaming or anything, and within sort of a couple of seconds they were separate. Winslow legged it, and Gorillon obviously had this rather nasty injury.
Park vet Mike Nathan's already been down to check on Gorillon and decided that he's going to need surgery to fix his hand.
Gorillon's had an injury first thing this morning where one of the others has just suddenly bitten him and bitten a finger almost off. So it's at this level here. This bit of the finger is hanging off and swollen, and there's a slice up here, it looks like, with the bone sticking through. That kind of injury is going to need to be addressed, and that piece of bone is going to need to be removed.
It's a straightforward operation, but the staff are concerned about Gorillon having an anaesthetic.
He's now 35 years of age. Oh, that's just an estimate. He could be older, so yeah, it's quite a risky thing for him to undergo.
Gorillon was one of 88 capuchins brought from a lab in Chile in 2008, in the biggest rescue Monkey World has ever undertaken. The team travelled 7,000 miles to save them. They found Gorillon in a tiny cage. He'd spent 20 years in the laboratory, ever since he was taken from the wild. Jeremy immediately bonded with him.
Are you coming as well? We're not going without you, old man. We're not coming without you. Yeah, you're looking pretty good, aren't you? A bit confused about what's happening now. Yes, you are.
If the team hadn't gone out to rescue them, all these capuchins would have been put to sleep. Even then, there were concerns that elderly Gorillon might not survive the long flight back to the UK.
Really pleased he's made the journey really well. He's an old boy.
Amazingly, all 88 rescued capuchins survived the trip, and Gorillon began his rehabilitation at the park along with the rest of them. Gorillon's always been well respected and regarded as leader of the group. But capuchins can be feisty, and of late he's had several punch-ups with younger males.
Sort of between Gorillon and Winslow, really. However, Gorillon's got a lot of popularity within the group, but Winslow's sort of a lot younger and he's got a bit more muscle power.
Despite his age, they decide it's safer to operate than to leave the injured finger.
It's a horrible room, but he's a tough old bird. He's Gorillon, he knows the routine. He's been here before.
They anaesthetise him while he's still in his crate, so as to minimise the stress.
Put your bum in.
Mike gets everything in place whilst the anaesthetic takes effect. The less time he's under, the better for Gorillon. It's vital surgery, and whilst Gorillon has been stable in previous medical checks, all operations can be risky. Staff at the park are always looking for ways to keep the primates busy, and today it's the turn of Lavar's woolly monkey group.
We've got till roll here today. It's just a bit of enrichment for the woolly monkeys. Usually when we give them enrichment, it's all to do with them trying to find their food and just make it a bit more interesting, make them try and look for the food. This is just a bit of fun. This has got absolutely nothing to do with anything other than just being lots and lots of fun, and Diego in particular seems to really enjoy this. Diego, you can go. Oh, good boy.
Young Diego's quick off the mark, using his brilliant hand, eye and tail coordination.
Oh no, it's finished!
But that's not the end of the game. There's masses of fun still to be had. Even Dad Lavar's not above joining in. 6-month-old Manny, the baby of the gang, isn't old enough yet to compete with the big boys, but he's determined to get his share.
So he's been coming down and just grabbing loads of it in his little tail, much more than probably he can handle, and is trying to carry that away with him.
But Manny's mum Paquita is boss lady in the group, and she's making sure everyone knows this bit of till roll is hers.
She's actually chest rubbing on it, which is them scent marking.
This is normal behaviour for woolly monkeys. It's their way of claiming their territory. She's no competition for Paquita, but Manny's big sister Ayla shows she's just as strong and agile as the boys. Everyone's having a wonderful time, except Julio.
He's at that stage in his life where he's trying to act all big and serious and trying to make everyone see that he's not the little boy he once was.
The till rolls have provided great entertainment for this woolly family.
They're having an absolutely fantastic time, and I'm sure this noise will stay like this until bedtime.
At Monkey World's hospital, Alison's been checking on Rattler and Tyre, the two young marmosets rescued from a flat in Plymouth. They'd been living in atrocious conditions.
Rattler, the male, looks slim to me. When he was walking along the window ledge, he was very, very slim in his belly. And let me just see if Tyre here would like a waxworm for breakfast. Would you like something? I know you've got porridge and things down there, my sweet. You're a good little girl.
She's concerned they haven't been getting all the nutrients they need.
Because they're kept indoors, they're also at a period of growth. They're not getting any sunlight, nor were they getting any supplements for the D3. Their bones are very fragile and brittle, and I believe Rattler's tail might have already broken in a couple of places at the top of the tail.
Alison doesn't know exactly what Tyre's diet was before, but overnight she's been tucking into all the goodies put out.
She's been just a little eating machine. I think she was quite hungry because she was having to compete with the male for food. So when we got her back here and put her in a situation where there were multiple feeding stations, she just started running around eating like a little trooper. Aren't ya? Good girl, good girl.
They're looking so relaxed and happy that Alison decides it's time to introduce Rattler and Tyre to some friends of their own kind.
I think she'll just be loved and take a nap. The question is Rattler. Is he too old? Has he just passed that threshold where the other marmosets will look at him and see him as an adult rival? Or is he still young enough that they'll look at him and think, yeah, okay, a new brother.
Rattler and Tyre are put in a bedroom next door to another rescued marmoset, Gabby, and her family. They're very curious about the new arrivals.
Yeah.
It's all very strange, and to start with, Tyre just clings on to Rattler for comfort. But gradually, they both start to investigate and take a look at the primates next door. It's the first step in their rehabilitation from the pet trade, but hopefully they'll soon fit in with everyone.
I just have everything crossed, hoping that the marmosets will accept both of them as youngsters.
At the other end of the park, two much older residents are about to get a fruity delicacy.
Today we're making some enrichment for our patas monkeys that we've got here at the park. Basically just trying to carve out some holes for them to get their hands into so they can get to all the seeds inside.
In the wild, patas monkeys are seed eaters, so they're hoping that whole pumpkins will bring out some natural foraging behaviour. Mitsa came from Slovenia in 2011, but when her pet owner passed away, she became aggressive and unmanageable, so she was rehomed at the park. Sissy Jo, another mature lady, was brought from a sanctuary in Cornwall to keep her company.
They're relatively laid back. Sissy Jo in particular does spend a lot of her days pretty much doing nothing really. She just kind of likes to watch the world go by.
But they're both stirred into action as soon as they see the pumpkins.
I'm quite surprised that they're kind of taking part in this enrichment quite as well as they are. I'm really, really pleased that they are doing that.
Sissy Jo's making sure she gets the tastiest bits. Before Mitsa came to the park, she'd never lived with her own species, and she's had to learn all about monkey behaviour from Sissy Jo.
Sissy tries to kind of show her the patas way of life, really, and Mitsa is picking it up really, really well. She's grown in her confidence since she's been here. She didn't want to come outside when she first came here, but now she likes to spend a lot of her days out here and likes to look over and see what the capuchins are doing and things like that. So it's really nice to see her come out of her shell since she's been here.
Although neither of them quite live up to their speedy reputation, they can still make the most of life together.
Patas monkeys in general are obviously supposed to be the fastest primate on land. These two, you wouldn't really think it if you looked at them, but they are two old ladies, so you kind of got to forgive them for that because, you know, they're in their old lady days now, so if they want to sit down in a quiet corner, then that's what we're happy to let them do.
Following the fight, capuchin monkey Gorillon needs an operation to amputate the end of his finger. It should be straightforward, but any anaesthetic is risky for such an old man. Capuchins often get into scraps, and missing fingers are a common injury, but vet Mike Nathan doesn't think it'll cause him much trouble.
You'll have a floppy finger, but it'll be all right.
He can be all right on all this heat.
Yeah, he's all right.
Throughout the operation, Gorillon is monitored to make sure he's coping with the anaesthetic, but it's an anxious time for the team.
The way this has gone, hopefully, means we've just taken out the offending bone that was, sticking up out of the wound, and then we'll just close the skin over it, and hopefully that will be okay.
It's the heart rate.
Okay.
The operation has been a success, but now it's a nervous wait for him to recover consciousness.
He's been... Let's put him on this side, just to wake up.
He seems stable, but there's no sign of him waking up.
Come on, wakey wakes. Wakey wakes.
He starts to show signs of coming round.
Thank you.
And with the tube removed, he takes a gasp of air. All the team give a sigh of relief.
Hopefully he'll leave his hand alone. I hope he won't chew at it. We'll see how that goes.
Gorillon's breathing, but he's not out of the woods yet. Mike's doing his best to rouse him, but it'll take time for him to fully recover from the anaesthetic. Until he does, the team will keep a watchful eye on him. Over at Gordon's orang enclosure, the whole family are now back together. Gordon was separated following the arrival of this new baby girl, because adult male orangs have been known to kill newborns.
Although Gordon's not a bad chap, he's also only just becoming mature, and he's got testosterone multiplied by testosterone, and he doesn't really know where he is a lot of the time. So being a bit cautious with him can only be a good thing. Keep away from Gordon when he's in a bad mood. He's a big lad. I creep round him like mad. I don't want to be on the wrong side of Gordon.
After 2 weeks, Gordon was reunited with his group, and so far he's shown no objection to the little one. But he's leaving all the work to the ladies.
Orangs are not the sociable family group animals that a chimpanzee or a gorilla would be. They really... Father has very, very little to do with babies and the looking after and being around them when they're very young. It's not the sort of thing that he's programmed to have in his social life.
Xiao Kuai isn't this baby's natural mum, but she took on that role when her real mother rejected her.
Xiao Kuai is a professional mum, so she's fine. She just looks after babies. It's what she wants to do, it's what she does, and it's what she does best.
The baby's real mum, Xiao Lan, seems far happier playing with toddlers. And Xiao Kuai's happy to watch them having fun whilst she cuddles the baby. Now that all the group are back together, Jeremy and the team have decided to name the baby Awan.
Xiao Lan, who is obviously baby's mum, Xiao Lan means little cloud. So Awan means cloud. So just in case she has any identity crises as to who actually her mother is, she's called Cloud, or Awan.
It's early days, but everyone seems content and happy with how the childcare's working out. At the Capuchin Lodge, it's the morning after Gorillon's operation. He looks like he's got a bad hangover, but he's taking it easy, soaking up the sun. And so far, so good.
Gorillon's doing really well. He's recovered from his op and we've put him back outside today. His hand's quite swollen still, but so far the stitches and everything he's left alone, and nothing's sort of opened up on that hand.
He's been kept away from Winslow, but the other Capuchins are gathering round to inspect their leader's wounds.
He's very popular, and he's also tough as old boots, really. I mean, when you think some of the injuries he has had over the years and his background, and he just gets on with life, and you wouldn't know, you know, half the time that these things have happened to him, really.
He's even done a bit of climbing.
He's using pretty much all the enclosure. We haven't seen him up in the trees too much, but yeah, he's been right on the hoses, all the rope ladders, been on the ground, also been in the cargo net. So some quite tricky surfaces there, but he's coped with them fine.
It looks like old man Gorillon's going to live to fight another day. Next time on Monkey Life. Marmoset James is rescued from a pet shop full of predators.
He's being quite a smart boy by keeping low and being quiet.
And Brian tests Jeremy's patience.
Yeah, that's actually Brian's when he stops doing all this stupid showing up.